You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Ian, look at this.
What, it's a police box. What on earth is he doing here? I mean, these things are usually on the street. I feel it. I feel it. You feel it?
Faint vibration.
It's alive.
Earth Station Who, a fun mashup exploring over 60 years of the Doctor Who universe. Hold on tight. You never know where the crew of the TARDIS is going next.
After a very long time, something's coming back.
What do we do this time, Doctor? How do we fight the human race?
I had to wipe her memory to save her life. Like, if she remembers me, she will die. Something entered this world.
He is recognizing me.
Who is he?
The one who waits. I don't know if I can save your life this time.
Open fire! Your fight is with me!
Hey there, listeners. Guess what? We have new Doctor Who back. That's right.
Yay!
Exactly. We got Star Beast, kids. And it was awesome to see David Tennant and Catherine Tate back. And it was interesting because a couple weeks back, we did review the comic book. And it was interesting to see how close they kept it and everything. Or
very close.
Exactly. So it was neat to see, and we have a great crew to talk about it tonight. Of course, let's welcome back to the show, Dave.
Hello.
Good to have you, sir.
Always a pleasure to be here. I love coming on anything Earth Station. They're all of the shows are wonderful. So I love spending my evenings with you guys.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. Hearts.
I don't know. Can we do the heart thing between things?
Should we do the two heart thing or something? You know?
Yeah, it's like you put your hand up to the side. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wonder Twin powers activate. Exactly.
That's a different show.
Exactly. And of course, returning back to the show, Wes Hubbard's back. Welcome, sir.
Hi. How's everybody doing tonight?
Good to have you back on the show, sir. And we have our regulars, of course. Mr. Mike Gordon is here.
Howdy.
And, of course, the lovely and talented Mary Ogle.
Hi, everybody. It is fantastic to be here on New Who Day. New-hoo.
Yeah, it shouldn't be woo-hoo. It should be new-hoo.
New-hoo.
Exactly. Folks, if you haven't seen this yet, we are going to spoil the hell out of it. So
yeah.
We wanted to,
know it.
Exactly. We almost had River Song in here telling us, spoilers,
How exciting. Spoilers.
It's going to be a ton of fun to talk about this one. And folks, we definitely would love to hear from you guys. So feedback at our station who is definitely the best way to get in touch with us. And you know what? Before we start, let's just jump in and we'll talk about a little bit of Doctor Who news at the end of the show as we're wrapping up and everything. Because the news has been very minimalist, but there's one or two things we'll talk about. But I just want to jump in and get initial thoughts. Let's talk to Wes first. Did you ever read the comic book version of this story?
Yes, I've owned that comic book in several different forms over my life. But yes, that's the first comic book Doctor Who I was able to get. And
a lot of people were that way, actually. Yeah. So it's awesome. That is awesome. The old Marvel comic version.
Yeah, I was super excited when they announced what it was, way back last year.
Right.
And, they were showing like the little pictures of the Wrath Warriors and the meat. And it was like, Russell knows where to hit you right in the heart.
Oh, very nice. Which is awesome. It was awesome to see. Dave, what about you?
I have not. In fact, I still have not actually read it.
Really?
I have listened to the audio version.
Okay, gotcha.
And I've listened to the audio sequel.
Okay.
But I've not actually read the original comic. I need to. In fact, I was literally just pulling it up going,
you can't have mine. You can't have mine. You cannot have mine.
That's
I'm like, dude, I'm just wondering if they did do a version. I'm like flipping through here. But I'm hoping there will be a new version coming out that would include, the original version, the colorized Marvel version, and and maybe an updated new version of it, all in like one trade paperback. That would be brilliant.
No, that would be brilliant. It was neat because seeing characters we've seen in comic book actually come to life in a full story, and it was awesome. And I have a list of my talking points already that we're going to be getting into. So, I've watched this 3 times, and each time I've actually, literally been making more and more notes, and it was wonderful. And even watching it 3 times, I didn't get tired of it and everything. So it was neat to see. And I'm going to first off say it, the chemistry between Tennant and Tate is just out of this world.
Off the charts.
And everything.
Just awesome.
So,
they haven't lost anything.
No. I felt like watching it, like we jumped from the end of time straight into this. It was like there was no time in between at all. It's like we're back with Russell T Davies and.
No, exactly. And there were a couple people I saw on Facebook that had said, "Hey, I'm behind on Doctor Who. Am I going to be lost watching this?" And I said, "No. If you watched End of Time and then hop right into this, you won't miss a scene. There's a couple small references they make to, the other Doctors in between. But really, overall, no, not at all, which is pretty interesting. Mike, what was your thoughts with seeing David and, Catherine up there again?
I mean, I appreciate them a lot. I mean, as you guys know, because I've talked about it, we talked about it on the show. Dawn is not one of my absolute favorite companions. I mean, I like her a lot, but she's probably my my third favorite 10 companion. So, but I do appreciate her a lot, and I like her a lot too. And it was nice seeing them together. But I mean, first and foremost, I'm a David fan. David really challenges me every time. I think, if I see another actor playing the Doctor and I'm like, man, this is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And then I see David again. I'm like, I cannot, I kind of have to put him always in that top spot for me. And because he's just able to do things. He owns the character, unlike so many others have played him. Some people have just played it as a part, which is fine. But man, David really embodies him in a way that few actors have.
I totally agree with that. It's interesting because they were saying there's going to be differences between 14 and 10. And did you guys? I didn't really notice much.
He kept saying that there
very
was
little.
Yeah, he kept saying that. Why do I have this face back? Why do I have this face back? And I'm like, yeah, but it seems like the rest of you is back too. It seems like you've, like you said, Mike. There's nothing. I mean, there's not much difference between him now and the way him at the end of time. So it's kind of like, I wonder. That's the big mystery that we're going to have to go through in these 3 specials, right? Like, why is he returning? Not just the face, but his whole being has regenerated again into and why is that? Is it, I think in this first episode, we're challenged with the ideas. Is it because of unfinished business with Donna? And I don't think that's it. I think there's some other reason that he's embodying this version of himself, and it'd be really interesting to see where it goes.
I would say there was one scene where he felt different to me, and that's when he's sitting in the warehouse with the new unit scientific advisor, and he's just kind of leaning up against the wall, and he's talking to her, but his demeanor is so different until the end when he's like, I bet you've been waiting on that forever, And but when he was sitting there talking to her, he's more laid back and calm and a little darker feeling to me. So that I think that was a little bit different. Go back and watch that scene. He's just not the same as he is the rest of the time. And then there's just little moments that maybe he's trying to be a little different, but overall it was the 10th Doctor.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. There was one scene where he said, something, oh, I love that, or something that he, and he says, oh, I guess I'm saying that now,
he is more open with expressing his emotions toward his companions and his friends.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
I was counting the minutes to see how long it would take him to say Alan Z, because it didn't take long at all. So
I mean,
they got that out of the way.
He got, he got like what is it like? I think I lost count at 27 what's in the first 15 minutes.
But they had that one scene where everybody in the scene went what, and then went to what, and it wasn't him saying it.
Yeah,
my head was just. I think
14 definitely seems to have more gravity to him.
Yes.
You've got, like you said, there's several points where it's just more serious, a bit of a gloom, a heaviness, something closer to, a Capaldi where, he was like, am I a good man?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't quite that far into the, he knows he's a good man, but, and then there was Jodie with some moments of really just regret of her past. And it delved into that side a little bit more than 10.
Yeah.
Not to an extreme, but it was definitely there.
He definitely, like you said, he seemed more heavy, but he also has probably close to 3,000 years on him.
Yeah.
To me, he was playing 10 with the experiences of 11, 12, and 13. It's you couldn't necessarily just be 10 without all that happening to you. Especially like the Heaven Sent Hell Bent arc with 12. That's some heavy stuff, and then everything that Matt Smith went through, and then the stuff he just went through with the Master and all that with Jodie. It's there, but it's still 10th, but it's the 10th that's weighed down by even more stuff than just Time War angst.
Yeah, it's really different. I mean, usually when we see a new Doctor, because it's usually a new actor, we see like there's a process, right, where they're sort of feeling themselves out, getting used to the role, et cetera, trying to figure out what the catchphrase is going to be and all that kind of stuff. But this, for the first time, I mean, David knows, and 14 knows. Like he's not even missing a beat. Like there's times where the other Doctors should know things, but they don't for whatever reason. And, barring bad continuity errors by the writers and producers, but yet it's just because it takes them a little while, because they are, for the most part, different people, right? But different personalities. But this one is exactly, has the history, but it's pretty much the same personality.
No,
very close. Yeah,
very, very close.
Yeah,
it was interesting because from the very start, it felt comfortable having David back. It felt like no time had gone by. That's not 15 years later, and I'm not 15 years older.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, well, I think that says a lot about David as an actor, that he can just step right back into that role and make you feel like he is the Doctor. I mean, you don't doubt for a second this is an incarnation of the Doctor.
No, exactly. It's not, there's no doubt that this is the Doctor and everything.
He's been playing Doctor Who since he was 9. So,
and Starbeast specifically.
Yes.
No, it was interesting. And I loved the look on his face when he pulled the packages away. There was Donna back there, and he was like, whoop. Here you go, put it back.
Yeah.
Right.
And Catherine equally, and felt like she just slipped into a new her old pair of shoes, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I've always thought, Catherine Tate anyway pretty much was Donna, and it wasn't that much of a stretch for her to play that character. But I loved, right from the very beginning, she was, mouthy, she was bossy, and I loved how she completely missed the spaceship again.
Yeah.
Yes, that was hilarious.
And everything.
That was a very good callback.
Exactly.
There's a lot of good callbacks throughout that whole thing. I mean, it's if you know your Who. Now, a new viewer, they're still going to enjoy it, but man, there was a lot of little, even background stuff. If you've watched it enough, you can see all kinds of like signs and things on the walls that like the Cyberdog Cafe, the first scene, you know.
No.
So there's going to be Easter eggs galore.
No, I want to find where that Cyberdog Cafe is. That looks frippin' awesome.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's a real place.
Is it? That's awesome.
I specifically watched it with my roommate, who's not a Whovian.
Okay.
She thinks it's a bit weird. She's only ever kind of seen it in the background of me watching it. I'm like, what did you feel? Did you feel lost? She's like, no. She felt like she was right there, caught up. They did a really good job. The exposition was a little bit wonky for me, but I understood why it's there and it had to be there.
Did you watch the part at the beginning?
We watched.
Yeah,
beginning to end.
Did you appreciate that? Because I know that when they've tried to do things like that in the past for, quote unquote American audiences or new Whovians, it has not been met well. Let's put it that way.
Cough, Amy.
God. Yeah, Amy,
exactly.
Exactly.
No, I called that out right away when I was doing the watch party with it. I'm like, what? That this feels like the Americanized version. This was a little bit better. This felt more like the '96 movie.
Yeah,
because they had a very similar intro there, and I think it was meant to feel that way. I still didn't love it, but again, knowing that this is the first time that hundreds, thousands, a million people are going to get to see Doctor Who because now it's on Disney Plus. That had to be there. Like there were bits of that just had to be, and that was.
It was an intro for new users because this is the first time they're seeing it, and Disney didn't shy away from it. It was right on the first page when I opened the Disney app. It was. I didn't.
It was the first one, the first slide.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was pretty awesome to see.
Now, do you guys know if that little intro is in the British version or not, or is that just strictly on Disney Plus?
That was
I
actually
wondered about that.
Good question.
If only we had a way to look.
Yeah, it feels like the BBC America intros for Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Which suckily ended up on my Blu-rays.
But then again, too, I mean, I think also I wouldn't be surprised, even if it was in the British version, because it's been a while since we've had any new.
Over a year.
And, a lot of people dropped off over the last,
couple
5-10 years. So I would imagine that, and it seems like with this starting fresh with, series 1, episode 1, I think they want a fresh new start. So they are assuming that nobody knows anything, but yet they still want to go into it, honoring the franchise as a whole, because these are anniversary specials and they're chock full of that stuff. So I think I would not be surprised if it was on there. And I think it's a good thing for those of us who know it's a, 3-minute thing that we have to put up with, and at least they did it in a kind of interesting visually way.
I think they tried.
Way,
I had a bigger problem with them closing. We could end up anywhere in time and space.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It was interesting though at the very beginning when David was standing there, and had the TARDIS next to him and everything, and it was like, how much hair gel does David have? And
it wasn't moving at all. It's like an entire can of hairspray.
Not to change genres or shows, but he's fighting Captain Pike's hair right now from Stranger World.
Very much so.
Brits were like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, the gauntlet has been thrown.
I kept thinking Lyle Lovett,
Ooh.
Oh, no, exactly. let's start talking a little bit about Donna and her family. I love the introduction of Rose.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Rose was awesome.
Actually, Rose looks.
I like Rose as a character. I go ahead. I thought it was cheap.
Oh no, there's a reason for that.
No, there's a reason for it.
I like the fact that she looks like the Sharon character from the comic book. Same hairstyle and basic dressing,
Mm-hmm.
Which is that was real interesting. But and I've been seeing a lot of Rose was great, and I'm glad they didn't shy away from that Rose was trans and everything.
Well, no, they certainly didn't shy away from this.
No, I know, but I love that they didn't and everything. And I've been seeing people coming out and yell, very angry that they did they were calling when he was a former male, by the bullies when they were riding by on the bike, calling him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they had to do something, because they didn't have to, but I think they did a very respectable job at doing it and everything. And they did harp on the dead name, or, oh, this is what you were before, but we love you now, no matter what. They didn't do any of that, which was wonderful.
No,
you had Sylvia a little bit, what do I call,
call trying, but trying.
Yeah, and that was very real. That was very realistic. I mean, that's what happens in families.
Oh. I've been on both sides of that conversation, and that's how that went.
No,
I also really felt this was in how they dealt with that. Felt some of the most realistic writing in Doctor Who in some time. I do a lot of work with Gen Z, Gen Alpha. These are conversations they just have. Pronouns are common courtesy now, right? It's not some outrageous thing. It's not the end of the world. It's the conversations they
just
have.
The way it is,
if they feel safe. Because I've also watched them clamp down to none of that around people they don't feel safe and secure around. When you get to into the older, the Gen Z university age, because that's where they're hit. That's where that generation is now. They're a little more outspoken. They can handle themselves. They're adults. But when you get into the, lower high school, junior high, they're like, they know who they can talk to or not, because they see everything that's happening online or around the kitchen table. But this. Yeah, well, exactly. So this is some of the fury, I think, is just a matter of, we know what some of the fury is, but some of it is just a matter of they've never experienced that language, that conversation, that courtesy. It just isn't in those generations. It's the same thing as I put this earlier. If back in the day, if you said Miss instead of Mrs. or vice versa, you would be corrected and move on. And honorifics are just another pronoun. That's literally all they are.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no real difference there. And so I think they really did. They addressed it all very, very realistically. Even the male presenting comment. It's like, that's okay. That is just Donna being Donna and taking the piss out of the Doctor as she does. But it's that someone said, does anyone even say that? I'm like, yeah, regularly.
Yeah. No, exactly. No, I agree completely. Appreciate.
Yeah, and Rose, she is only 15 in the show.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was pretty realistic about what a 15-year-old trans person would be going through.
Yes.
Oh, very much so. And I love how supportive her parents were, and her grandmother was still getting used to it.
But she was supportive,
she was supportive, which is wonderful. And the Doctor didn't even blink at it, which was awesome.
Yes,
they made it clear that the Doctor considered themselves non-binary.
You would hope that.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. I really appreciated the fact that when we found out that Russell T was going to return to Doctor Who, I think that for a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's going to be back to, normal, or it's going to be back the way we got a lot of that, like the people who were thinking that Chibnall was quote unquote too woke.
They had a woke up call.
And my thought was that my thought was that you guys haven't seen anything yet, because when Russell T comes back, like with his own production company, he's only doing Doctor Who if he can go all out as woke as possible. So like you haven't seen, but it's not going to, it's not going to feel like it did with the Chibnall era, right? It's going to feel ingrained. It's going to feel like it belongs there. It's not going to feel like it's forced in there. And it's not just going to be representation for representation's sake, right? It's just the thing. And it was sprinkled throughout this story. And I like the fact that Russell T right off the bat, right out of the gate, his first episode is like, this is what Doctor Who is going to be if I have anything to say about it for the rest of its, existence. So
this is the world we live in
get
now.
used to it. And I love that. I mean, because if it wasn't for, like Roddenberry doing that with Star Trek back in the day, like a lot of us would think very differently than we do. And I think it's important for, anybody who's watching Doctor Who, no matter what age, if they start watching Doctor Who, to get used to, equal representation. And fair representation.
Exactly.
And treat it as a human being, not as a stereotype. Not as you're evil or you're a saint.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, you actually get to be a real person.
Yeah.
She was a real teenager, which was wonderful.
And this isn't like, and now a very special episode of Doctor Who. I mean, it's just like, it's like, it's incorporated in the story. It's incorporated in these characters. You just, and if you recognize it, that's fine. I think it's, it's great. Like I said, because it's sprinkled throughout. Obviously with Rose, it's highlighted, but even that's not the basis for what this story is.
No, and that's wonderful because it made me like the name Rose again.
Yeah.
So it was perfect.
Rose has been redeemed.
Well, yes. To your point, yes. I mean, I understand that they gave it a reason, and yes, that's fine and dandy. But I still think it was.
I think it was half cheap pop and
to
half
Rose.
RTD trolling, knowing exactly what that segment of the internet was going to do.
Yeah, I think it was 100% RTD trolling.
Yeah, that's. I will say sometimes, I don't appreciate showrunners doing things just.
I don't think it was spite. I think it was, but I think the way that they released that information was very similar to how they did MJ in the Spider-Mans. It's like, look, we have our MJ.
Exactly.
It's a black girl, and that certain segment flipped out. It's not that.
It kind of makes Rose Tyler, the Rose character, out to be a lot more important as a companion than any other companion. And that's in the same instance where, 14 is so concerned about Noble, and he's like saying everything about Donna, about what a special friend she is, best friend. And I'm like, please don't take anything away from the companions that you've had in the past. I mean, I understand that a lot of people like Donna, and I understand that you're trying to like right this wrong that you kind of wrote, a long time ago, but I don't think you should do that at the expense of other companions.
I didn't feel like it was at the expense of other companions. Actually, I felt that way about Clara.
I mean, that's fine.
I didn't feel that way about about Liz.
Yes, I did feel that way about Clara too. I'm not saying this is the first time it's ever happened. I'm just saying I felt a little bit.
Rose made sense to me because that's the other companion that Donna met significantly during her run.
I'm gonna say she met Martha. Spent a lot of time with Martha.
But
no one wants to. No one's going to choose the name Martha.
No, not at all.
No British person. No British person is going to choose the name Martha.
Why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that name?
I wasn't even going there, but now that you have,
that would have been a fun moment. I have noticed looking on the different Doctor Who sites I follow, like on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, it's been predominantly positive, that entire message. I've not seen a whole lot of, the woke trolls out. Most people have been pretty happy with it. I have read a couple of reviews, where people absolutely hate it, think it's the worst of whatever, but they probably hate Russell T Davies writing anyway, because this was just fun.
Wow.
No, it was fun, and that's what I loved about it. I loved Rose's workroom, and I loved, I didn't even notice, when they brought up later the different pillows and stuff that she was creating were the different, aliens that Donna had met.
Well, they made them different enough that you wouldn't recognize them. Like they weren't like right in your face. Like, this is a Dalek.
But that was just genius.
She stuck a plunger on something,
and I loved that. I thought that was great that they did that. And
I will say that was, I think, one of the most impressive things to me about this episode was the fact that I thought, because we talked about it before, and I expected them to just hand wave the whole thing with Donna. Like, oh, we'll just figure out a way out of that. But I do think that the way Russell T did work his way out of it by introducing Rose and having the Time Lord energy in both of them, I thought it was really clever.
Yeah,
I thought that was
really,
really,
think about
really
the
clever.
Let It Go.
Exactly. Yes.
I'm gonna wait.
That I didn't like at all. That was a hand wave. That was just like, okay, well, we've done our thing. Now let's just let it go. And I'm like, really?
I'm wondering if that's going to come back. I'm wondering if that's going to come back around in some way. They not just that they didn't let it go, or where that energy went, or something.
Or there's some further meaning.
Exactly. There's something deeper there that we just don't know yet.
But I knew they weren't going to have like Donna be like,
Dr. Donna the whole time.
Like a 10th level Time Lord or whatever, like the knowledge of all that. Like I knew they weren't going to do that. But
that even makes more sense.
But I just thought like, well, how are we going to get around it? Oh, we'll just let it go. Like I'm like, okay, that feels a little lazy, but whatever. So
no, and it was interesting. I'm glad, they explained it off. They actually came up with a proper solution. And I kind of had thought, oh, Donna had a child. So part of the Time Lord energy that she had in her went to the child. And, when they did it, I did a fist pump. I was like, yes, I got it. Like, I predicted it. And I thought but the way they did it, I thought was perfect and everything. I enjoyed that part. I liked, like I said, I liked all the scenes with David and, Catherine. I thought was just great. And the thing, was interesting was in the middle of the big reunion, you had an alien land in, London, basically.
Yes.
And it beat the meat.
That's the other thing about Russell T that I had sort of, I guess, forgotten, is that Russell T knows a good story when he sees it, but he also is not afraid to eclipse it with a personal story. Like the Star Beast is not really a story about. I mean, obviously the plot of the Star Beast, the comic, and they do a great job with that. And when we talk about the effects and everything, top notch. But really, it's all backstage. It's all background to what's going on with the Doctor and Donna, and that's the main story of this. And it's sort of, I don't know. At some points, I felt like it like I wish the Star Beast story was like a little bit more prominent. But I mean, if that's just my take on it. But I kind of remembered, oh yeah, Russell T kind of does this a little sometimes. Like he'll find a good story, but then he's like, oh, I'll put that in the background.
I mean, they did follow the comic very closely, and they did give a writer credit, by the way, to the one who wrote the comic, which.
Oh, very much so.
They had the two comic writers right in the beginning, which is great. Absolutely. That was awesome.
Right on
but it's still in the background of the real story.
But right on the title, it was just awesome.
One of my favorite scenes of the whole thing was when Donna and the Doctor were in the ship at the end, and they were going over the words, and she was snapping out of it. But that was such a good mirror to him and Wilfred being separated by the glass from the end of time. And he's even yelling out, why this one, and it was, if you're really ingrained in that whole David Tennant era, it's kind of wrenching a little bit when you see it. And the acting between the two of them was just fantastic.
Yeah, it's also a callback to, to Partners in Crime, where they're making the hand signals through the window.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really nice circle back around to David and Donna's era.
Very much so. I thought that was really, really done. I thought the puppetry with Beep was just awesome.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah, very nice effects.
I thought it was CGI, but it was puppets and that they were doing it with.
Absolutely. I thought it was like looking at some of the trailers, because I didn't look that close, but I mean, when I saw the trailers just once or whatever, I was like, oh, they're going to do a CG Beep, but no, it was practical. And I was like, it looks really, I mean, they enhance it with CG, but I mean, looking at the behind the scenes stuff and everything, and I'm like, wow, because that really makes a difference, and good for them for putting all that work into it. And the same thing with the rats. I thought they looked amazing, and they moved really well, and I thought they really brought the comic to life in that way.
Yeah, they had a lot of practical effects. You can really see it in the behind the scenes. It's well worth watching on YouTube, by the way, if anybody hasn't seen it. But beautiful sets they built, really nicely done, great costumes, great puppets. Just even, the guys walking around on stilts to do the Roth warriors.
It's almost like they had a bigger budget for this show.
It's almost, I was just going to say, it's almost like they had Disney money.
Yeah, right? Or Sony money. It's like, what?
No, literally right from the opening credits.
Those credits.
Oh my God, the opening credits are beautiful. So
they were
much
just
better.
Amazing.
I'm sorry, I'll do the first Chibnall bashing.
Wow.
I hated those opening credits. It looked like a flushing toilet bowl they had lit up with LEDs during the Chibnall era. It was so nice to see real thought put in.
The first Chibnall
and
Murray,
and Murray
so
Gold.
Nice.
I mean, can we not say enough good things about how the
made a
fact
huge
that
difference.
having him back? I mean, I hope he's not. It's just not a
I
three
think
and done.
he is around
I hope
for a
he's
while.
around for a while.
Yeah.
It's good. Because it's his music is gorgeous.
He actually did even replay some of his themes, but mixed it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
I've said it before, and I'll say it
till
I blew in the face. I would love to see Akinola come back. So Akinola come back with Murray Gold, so they can work together. Because I liked the music of 13's era. I really did.
Yeah.
It felt appropriate to that era. Nothing's going to sound like Murray Gold, but I really wanted another Doctor's worth of Akinola music to just see how much do they have that? Is it going to be very different again? So I would love to see to see him come back, and because Murray Gold helped pick him. Right, it wasn't just they didn't just kind of randomly grab somebody. Murray Gold was very heavily involved in choosing him, so clearly there's something there.
But when you're, when you're talking about like the best, and you've got Murray Gold, you've got David Tennant, you've got Rachel Tallahaye directing again, and it's just like these are people who have been involved with the best of Doctor Who. And when they bring their best, I don't care who it is, it's just like, it just doesn't, I think there's a lot of other people that have done really great things for Doctor Who, and some even comparable. But man, these three pillars right there, when they're on their game, like that's when Doctor Who is
it is like Doctor Who is back. This is beautiful.
Like this is that's what makes us go, yeah, baby. Like this is like, that's what, not that, look, I like Peter Capaldi. I like Jodie. I like all that stuff. I love Matt Smith. Matt Smith. But But you watch this and you sort of feel guilty because you like 10 or 14 so much. You like David so much, and then it's like, yeah, but I feel like now I'm cheating on the others, on the other 13, but or 16
what do you
or
think
whatever.
The chances are that when Shooty Gatwa shows up, we're going to have a new theme and an opening credit.
I hope so. Actually, I mean, I hope he makes it his own. Like I wouldn't mind this just being a temporary thing.
I don't want to see him change the logo, though. I love that logo.
That's my childhood.
Oh my
What about
God!
the
I'm
interior of
in
the
love
TARDIS?
with the interior of the TARDIS.
Yes,
it is so gorgeous.
I could have.
Yeah,
I could have watched David
just run around on the ramps, like David. We're just going to sit back and watch you.
Yeah.
But I love in the extra, in the bonus material they had, Phil Collinson at the very end said, "We just destroyed our brand new trailer." Wouldn't it be funny if they go with a completely new idea after, because they destroyed?
Yeah, they aren't. There's no way.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, that set cost way too much for them to just use in a.
And I love that the round things changed colors.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
When he first walked in, I saw the round things. I was like, Judy, round things, round things. And of course, she didn't watch much old Doctor Who, so she was like, huh?
That's nice,
What do you
dear.
mean?
But what about how the
Exactly.
sonic screwdriver works now, where you can make the force shields?
That was pretty cool.
Actually, that's
You did
my
not
weak
like
point.
that.
They made the sonic screwdriver truly into a magic wand with us. They, that it can do anything. It can become a monitor. It can become, basically a hologramic monitor. It can create the force fields. It's like, no, that's not what a sonic screwdriver is. It's supposed to just build a nice set of cabinets, literally.
No, I don't.
Maybe it'll start short circuiting. Maybe it didn't work that well.
Yeah.
Maybe it worked for a bit, and it just kind of.
I mean, I think it actually makes sense for it to be more advanced than we normally
No,
see.
I literally just looked at it and it said Disney money.
Though
Disney
there are
money.
rumors that will be no sonic screwdriver for shooting. So it'll
Really?
be interesting to see how that plays out.
You're getting Ray-Bans. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Not Sonic sunglasses. No.
Well, that's what they did. They took the software for the Sonic sunglasses and put it in David's new Sonic. So it's got the heads-up displays. He just,
no.
what
can see them
my stepson pointed out. It's like, yeah, you can tell they got Disney money because now they got the heads-up displays that they have in the Marvel universe. Because everywhere you go in there, and Star Wars, they got heads-up displays like that.
It was very Star Wars.
Yeah.
I bet there's a crossover coming. You just wait.
Star Who.
The other weak point for me was, when, Beep the Meep was, using that drill drive, whatever they call it, the spike drive, and it opened all the trenches in the streets of London
drive,
and everything. Exactly, the dagger drive. When they shut it off, they healed automatically.
Cut off, it reversed.
Yeah.
That's RTD. That's RTD.
Yeah. That was too magic for me.
Man, this was
they reversed the polarity.
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
the special effects.
Yeah.
That was the editors and the special effects company saving money by rerunning the shot backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and nobody died. That kind of thing. It's like, okay, I mean,
well, but people did
sometimes
die.
RTD goes.
Yeah, I was going to say people did die in this one.
The two Roth warriors died.
Yeah, but I mean, like
the aliens don't.
Oh, you mean when they're destroying
the destruction that was going on? When they're destroying the city, like thousands, if not like tens of thousands, should have been killed.
How many units
right?
fell into it? That type of thing.
It actually looked very Stranger Things to me.
I don't. Yeah, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of units. So I think we lost a lot of units.
Well, they're like red shirts anyway.
We should
valid.
We should pause for a moment to recognize all the unit soldiers that gave their lives for this.
Well,
story.
Speaking of unit, what did you think of Ruth Mandelay's character, Shirley Bingham?
I like
loved her. I thought
great.
But the whole time I'm thinking, where's Osgood? What happened
she
to
probably
Osgood?
couldn't get her back.
Well, it's funny. I love the interaction she had with the 14th Doctor.
She's not too impressed by him.
No. And I love that, it's like, how do you know about your future selves? Isn't that against the law? Or isn't that against the rules? And he says, oh, this isn't, I know, I was her.
Yeah, he started talking to her and giving her a lot more information than I'm used to the Doctor divulging.
Info dump.
So you're right. To your point, I thought that was like a little different for this incarnation, because I'm like, wow, he's really revealing a lot here about what's going on with him personally.
Mm-hmm. No, very much so. But I did like that. I'm hoping we will see Oscar.
Yeah.
Like later in the specials or possibly in the spinoff. Knock, wink, wink, type stuff. So and we got a real brief glimpse of Unit's new headquarters in one of the scenes of London at the end.
The building.
So it was,
Yeah, well,
Disney
had that left over from the last movie, so they're like, here, we'll save some money by using that.
Exactly. It's like, hey, do we have any leftover buildings? Oh, we just have this one from the Avengers movie. They're not using it anymore. So.
Well,
but yeah,
I really, really, really didn't like at the end. I think one of the worst things I for the story for me, it was at the very end when all of a sudden the Meep is like, well, my boss might be interested in you, and I'm like, don't do that.
I was almost sure they were going to do that.
Like that was so weak. I'm like, this story could just hold on its own. You don't need to have the Meep working for somebody. There's nothing in the whole previous rest of this episode that implies or even hints that he's like working for somebody else. He's totally in it for himself. And then at the very end, he throws out that.
Yeah,
and that's
an
RTD thing too. It's like, here, I'm going to just throw this out because I'm building to the next thing, and I'm like, that just was awfully.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was clumsily done. Yeah.
I feel like, all will be revealed, obviously, but I feel like that's more of a Shooty Gatwa Doctor storyline, because
that could be. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll see. I feel like once we find out what it is, who he's referring to, it's not going to make any sense that he worked with the Meep at all.
No, and it's like, I still think somehow the toy maker is behind the old regeneration, type thing. And so, but we just don't know. And I'm glad we didn't have any references to him in this.
Did we?
Oh, we did.
Did we?
Well, when the Meep gives the warning about the boss,
you don't know that. They don't.
Yeah.
They don't specifically say toy maker. So.
I'm pretty sure. Like it's RTD. That's how he's going to connect these. He's going to connect them all, and it's going to, And yes, logically we can look at it and go, there are 3 episodes, right? There are 3 specials, and we know that the Celestial Toymaker is in the 3rd one. So yes, he is probably responsible for what's happening with 14 because he's in the last one, and that's going to be where we find out. So hopefully it's a little bit more clever than that.
We know that.
Yeah.
It's the cast lists are out, so we know.
Yeah.
The boss. My theory is that it's Bob Iger, who runs Disney.
not Bruce Springsteen.
I was going to say, I was thinking Springsteen all the way.
Said like a man from Florida.
Well, it's not Donald Trump. I think we can say that.
My stupid theory from watching about the David Tennant face thing, from just watching Doctor Who my entire life and trying to think out of the box, is that he's like an avatar on top of Shooty Gatwa. Like, something's interfered in causing this to happen, and then boom, he's going to be Shooty, or Shooty's in there.
Well, so you don't think that he's going to have to regenerate again?
Yeah, well, I'm guessing. Russell likes to throw curveballs at you. I'm just guessing, but I feel like they're saying 15th Doctor, so you don't know, but who knows? I mean, that may just be a dumb thing I just said, but
No, it's a decent
I feel like
theory.
it could be a thing. If say the toy baker's manipulating this thing, and he intercepts him in between and throws this former thing, and they start shooting companions toward each other and stuff like that, it could make sense. I mean, of course, you could say anything about this show and make it make sense, but you can also say a lot about the show and it doesn't make sense.
I mean, Jody did become the master and vice versa, and there was already a shift backwards.
Well, I don't know if
anything goes.
I don't know if you guys talk about rumor spoilers or not. How do you feel? Okay, so the rumor spoiler that I've read on several sites over the last month or so.
Take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, this is take it with a grain of salt, because I'm like, really? Is that at the end the Doctor split off? And you got Shooty and his show.
Yeah, we have talked about that. Yeah.
Oh, you already did? Okay.
Yeah.
And we poo-pooed.
Yeah, I think that's pretty dumb.
I mean, it could still. I mean, I'm not saying that. I mean, I don't want to see it happen, but I'm not. I wouldn't be surprised.
I think Donna's going to go back to her family. I mean, really.
Maybe she could win the
lottery.
That would be
nice.
Where does this new lottery ticket pop up? Wow.
Like, I don't know. I got a feeling that Russell T didn't just introduce Rose Noble just to be in one episode of something. I got a feeling that she's going to be around this franchise.
I hope she is
in a significant way.
I'd like to see more of
her.
I
hope so too.
So how does how does that work? I don't think that works.
Thought they'd already said that she was back on set with Shooty's Doctor filming something like one of the Christmas specials. So who knows?
Because they are already filming the 2024 Christmas special.
Yeah.
So that's what they're working on right now. So they're over a year in advance.
I mean, Russell's committed to having Doctor Who every year.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Russell.
Very much so. I will say this about the episode. It did not feel like an anniversary special, though. It felt like a regular episode of Doctor Who, which was great having New Who, but it didn't feel grand like a 60th anniversary special for me.
But it's part 1 of 3 parts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's hard to say that when you haven't seen all 3 parts.
That's why I'm going open-minded, my friends.
I don't...
Plus, I mean, I don't think it's going to be like, we just reviewed Day of the Doctor, and I don't think it's going to be like the 5 Doctors. I mean, they're not going to do that multi-Doctor anniversary thing. I mean, in some ways, I can think they are doing that, but not in a conventional standard way. I don't know. It should be interesting. But until we see the other 2 parts, I did see there was enough in here. Like every few minutes, there was a callback, a reference of something. So to me, this checked off anniversary special for me, because it was. I mean, there were lots of callbacks.
That's for sure. If you're a longtime Who fan, you there was a lot of fan service
very much so.
Going on in there.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Dr. 10 to show up to be casting and everything.
Did anybody see the Next Time trailer?
Yes.
You didn't see it?
No.
It's on YouTube if you want to see it. But don't worry, it will spoil absolutely nothing.
I love that, by the way.
I don't. That's the thing. That's the thing. I don't want. Right now, I love not knowing anything.
Yeah, you won't know anything after you watch the trailer.
I know nothing. I know nothing about the second one, and I'm like, that is so exciting to me. I mean, yeah, I get it. We live in this day and age where we get, news and all that kind of stuff, and we know who and all that stuff about the third one. But yeah, the fact that there's this mystery of what might happen it's
very
this
exciting.
Weekend,
yeah.
I'm like, please, no spoilers from anybody or anything. But I doubt in the world we live in that's going to happen. That's going to happen. Well, I mean, I didn't watch this. I didn't watch Star Beast when it, quote unquote, first went live or first aired. So I had to wait for about, 5 or 6 hours or whatever it was. And, my feed was already getting like spoilers. So, I love the circle of folks that I have on social media, but yet, damn people, can you at least wait like a day?
Do you remember the time? Do you remember the times when the episode premiered in England and be a year later before it got here?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If we were lucky, we got
then
it.
BBC America started showing it same day, but it was like 8 hours later, and then you had to stay off the internet. And now you really 30 minutes into the episode, they're already spoiling stuff. I mean, there were pictures of TARDIS interiors and stuff online, but I was like, whoa, don't want to see that.
Well, that got leaked way before.
Well, I think, and I think I can't point the finger too much at other people because we kind of did this too, and we reviewed the comic of the Star Beast, but the whole twist of Meat being like like an evil entity, that is pretty much, I think was spoiled like across the board. I mean, I didn't see any trailers that out and out spoiled it, but yet it did seem like a lot of things were out there basically saying that this is not an ET
No,
story.
exactly. Like Judy was like, "Oh, it's so cute. I love it." And I love Tennant was like, "Something doesn't seem right here." And Judy was like, "What's that mean?" And just keep watching. Keep watching.
Now, I think the big twist was how they solved the Donna situation. That was kind of, I didn't really actually, unlike Mike, I didn't see that coming, but it made sense when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
No, and that makes sense. It was very well done, and it makes sense. You have a child, and it has part of your DNA, and of course, Rose inherited part of the Time Lord. Same thing with River Song being melon, type thing.
I would love to know, like, if Russell always had that in his back pocket, or if, like, at some point in the last, decade or whatever, he went, I know what I can do. Because I mean, I thought that was pretty.
He was playing a long game. He's like, I'll quit Doctor Who. I've got this going on.
It was all planned out.
14 years later, I will resolve it.
Yeah. And both Chris and Steven knew, but they were like, no, we can't do it because Russell said
I know. We'll make up the timeless child and they'll throw everyone off.
Letter in the president's desk.
Yes.
Right.
Don't do this. Okay.
I think it's really neat that this whole thing came about because of the tweet-alongs. I mean, that blows my mind. They had so much fun doing a tweet-along during the pandemic that Russell T. Davies like, I'm going to produce Doctor Who again just so I could do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting and everything. So I'm glad to have RTD back. I'm glad to have, his production crew with him. And it felt very comfortable. That's a good way to, it felt very, very comfortable with a bigger budget, which was even better.
So an interesting question. I was thinking about this because, and I don't necessarily feel this way, but I was thinking about it because most of us agree that the Chibnall seasons were pretty underwhelming. Do you?
What?
I know.
Wait,
hard
this
to
is the
believe
first time
that I would
hearing
say
that.
that.
What? That's crazy.
Do you
Out
think
loud.
you approached watching this episode differently than you might have if you felt like Doctor Who had been on the right track the whole time? Do you think you were more forgiving for this episode, or maybe even harder on this episode? Do you think it made a difference?
I was more excited about it, like a giddy little kid. The last couple of seasons of Jodie's, while I enjoyed them, I wasn't like rushing to the TV to watch it, except for the Power of the Doctor, which I loved. But this was like, it's David Tennant, it's Catherine Tate, it's Star Beast, it's Russell T Davies. I can't wait to see it. It's either going to be one of Russell T Davies' schmaltzy, just crazy meh kind of stories, or it's going to be really good. And I thought it was really good. Russell can get a little carried away sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's because he had, taken this story that was written by two other people that had big success, and he, used that as his backbone, or the spine of the story here. So he had that to lean against. Which I'm not saying that he can't do it all on its own, but to your point, Mary, I think it's interesting because I did feel like it was kind of a safe cop out to have Russell back and David back and Catherine back and bring everything back. Like, I did think that was a safe way to get the franchise moved, sort of like restarted, reignited, right? Like, because we've seen it with other franchises. Like, let's redo what worked to remind people, and so that we can kind of and go from there. So I think I would like to think that I would be just as excited if the first thing that we saw was Shooty's first episode.
Do you feel like this is making it harder for Shooty or easier for Shooty, or it doesn't make a difference at all?
It's always Shooty's. It's always going to be hard for Shooty. And putting David right in front of him as opposed to Jody probably is going to be more difficult.
Almost
for
definitely.
Exactly. Not to say that, I mean, God, I certainly do not want to dismiss Jody, the talents of Jodie Whittaker, because I do think she was amazing, and she will be one of those ones that I think we look at and go, what if we're going to play that game for the entire rest of our lives? Yeah, I mean, Shooty's going to have a tough time anyway, but I mean, Russell's still going to be there. So as far as we know, right? So that's going to be at least somewhat. And Russell has shown that even though he's still who he is, he's not afraid. Like, this was I think Starbeast was a bold first episode of his run to say, like, I'm going to do some stuff that's going to be cool, and I'm not afraid to have Doctor Who be what I think it should be. And
especially since this is a moment
like
in time when trans issues are in the forefront. I mean, trans people have become the scapegoat of the hour, and there's an awful lot of hate and violence going around, and transphobia, including from people who were otherwise respected, J.K. Rowling, cough, before they came out as being extremely transphobic. And so for Russell T to just sort of lay down the gauntlet in a very popular show and say, look, I am going here and I am going all out and I am not apologizing, and I am saying straight out that trans people are people and should be treated with respect. I mean, that's a brave thing to do in this climate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And absolutely, I think it's
very
important.
much so.
And I think that and this isn't something that Russell T is like just doing to do it. Like, he's like, we've known Russell T. I don't know if he felt
he
handcuffed
absolutely
the first
did. He's
time
even
he was the
talked about
showrunner
it.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he did introduce some things. He snuck things in here and there, right? And that was really great. Exactly. But now, I think, but I think we were all pretty certain that he would never come back to Doctor Who unless he got to do it on his.
Of course,
Captain Jack.
and yet I do feel like, despite the fact that he's definitely laid it out, like, I am all about representation of all sorts of minorities or interest group, whatever. I think that what I find interesting is that I see those groups, there's a backlash against him by those groups. I know people who, very surprised that their reaction to this story was such that it was, because I thought at least they would be applauding those efforts, but instead it seems like that's been a big mark of contention among them as people. I don't understand to be honest with you, I don't understand where all of that comes from. but I'm interested in that conversation.
Nope. Totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. All right. Any final thoughts before we finish this up tonight?
I want to say something to Michael about what he was saying about Shooty maybe having a tough time. I don't think he's going to at all. Have you ever seen Sex Education? The guy has got charisma out. He's going to be like, people forget that everyone loves David Tennant, and his tenure was very successful, but it hit worldwide phenomenon with Matt Smith. That's when it really started picking up here in America. And
yes, 100%.
Shooty's got that kind of Beatles vibe.
Yes,
he's going to be really good.
Absolutely right. I think that's a very apt comparison.
I don't think he'll eclipse David Tennant ever, because my thought is that David Tennant is the Tom Baker of the new series. You know,
Tom Baker hasn't played 3 Doctors yet.
And I love Tom.
2.5.
And I don't think I could ever say that David Tennant would pass Tom Baker.
Valid.
But
exactly,
you know, you never know.
He's played a doctor and a half. I don't know what we call. I don't know what we call the curator.
No, but Tom Baker could read the phone book, and I would listen to it.
Exactly. All right, kids, let's go ahead and rate this one. 1 out of 5 TARDISes, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Dave, you're first up.
4.5.
Okay. Wes?
Because it's first part of a trilogy, I'll say 4.5.
Okay. Mary?
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 5. I mean, I really loved it. I thought it was great. I had a great time watching it. I mean, it's not perfect. Nothing's perfect, but I don't care. It was totally enjoyable and a great return for Doctor Who, and it made me excited for Doctor Who again, and that alone is worth a 5.
Okay. Mr. Mike Gordon?
I'm going to go with a 4. I don't think I was as much as I'd love to say I was. I wasn't as much in love with it as you guys were, but I still appreciate the hell out of it.
No, totally understand that. All right, for me, I'm going to do a 4.75. You know, it almost made a perfect 5. It really was very, very. It was very, very close. I just did not like the sonic screwdriver as the magic wand. That was.
I was just thinking in my head you were going to say that.
Well, how many years have we known each other, dude? You know.
So a quarter point for the sonic screwdriver.
Exactly, but otherwise, I thought it was pretty damn amazing. And you know,
Mike Faber says too
sonic.
Too much Sonic.
Exactly.
Say what you will about that Sonic, but it looks incredible.
Exactly.
I can't wait till the prices come down from $70 so I can put one on my shelf.
I actually pre-ordered it about 4 or 5 months ago. I'm just waiting for it to show up. So I'm looking forward to it. So
did you get it from Character in England?
Actually, it was through the Who store over in Indiana that I was able to do it.
Oh, okay.
So it's very cool, actually. So, folks, we had a blast with it. The only Doctor Who news, I told you at the beginning of the show, we're going to do the news at this point. The only Doctor Who news that I had heard is Russell's already come out and said the second season of Shooty's Doctor Who run will be airing in May of 2025. So,
wow.
So we already have dates for that. We haven't had that in years.
For that.
When we knew this far out.
Yeah, we don't have dates for season 1.
We do. It's the same. I can't remember if it's March or May, but we do have those dates.
I'm
okay, cool.
From what everyone's been saying, it's going to be either late March.
That's what they're saying,
May.
But there's not official
early
dates.
April.
We'll put it that way.
No, there's nothing official. There's never something official.
But I could be wrong.
So exactly. But you know what? I'm loving it. We're in a renaissance of Doctor Who again. And, it saves us once again from having to watch Trial of the Time Lord. So it's a good thing.
It's the only thing.
So
what's wrong with Trial of the Time Lord?
We'll tell you off the air.
That is a whole other set of episodes. And apparently it's a future adventure in time and space.
Details. Oh, and the other thing is Shooty popping up in Adventures in Space and Time. Which is pretty awesome to see.
I've not seen the version. They've also edited out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
Unearthly Child stuff.
That guy is a jerk.
Yes.
He is a good, yes. So, folks, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This has been fun rambling tonight with you guys.
Yeah.
And for the next for the next month, we're pretty much going to be coming to you guys every week. So, we're going to be having new episodes. So, talking about new Doctor Who, and then we have the Christmas special. And then after that, I couldn't announce it now. We're going to be doing a live episode reviewing all four, seeing our thoughts and everything. So, I think it's pretty cool and everything. So, I had folks, it's been a blast being with you guys. It's been great having everybody here. Let's thank everyone for being here real quick. Of course, Wes Hubbard, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. Anytime.
Oh, definitely. Do you want to promote Pensacon? Anything going on with that yet?
There's, we've got some guests announced on the pensacon.com. Nothing major's going on yet, although it's ramping up. So, February, it's only a couple months away.
The end of February in Pensacola, Florida, folks. It's a great con.
My car is all ready to go.
Marion. Oh, I'm
hoping to come down because I've got a bunch of other stuff right after it. So I'm planning to drive from Alberta to Pensacola. Just saying.
It's only a couple of hours, and it's a different.
Just a few hours.
Time zone, so it's okay.
Yeah.
So that is
awesome. You should do a live show while you're there.
Let's have a conversation.
I think we might. I think we might have to do an Earth Station Who live from Pensacon this year. I think, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. So I think that might be a lot of fun to do. The ideas. Dave, thank you, sir, as always.
Thank you for having me.
Want to promote the Rat Hole?
For sure, the rathole.ca. I do board game reviews. I've just put out a month's worth of stuff on Doctor Who Nemesis, the board game. I'm coming soon. I have one or two new books.
Wow.
Oh, wow. If only this was a video podcast.
Right.
For
That's
people.
right. This one's not a
so
video.
Not
I won't show you the coolness that is all of that. But yeah, so I've got 3 Doctors in Daleks and 4 Doctor Who role-playing game books that are coming very, very soon as well. And then over on my channel as well, I'm doing some live watch parties, so you can join me live. On both on my YouTube, the Rat Hole DOTCA, and
so that's awesome, my friend. We'll have links up. We'll have links up to it on the show notes, of course. And of course, our regulars, Ms. Mary Ogle. Thank you as always.
Thank you. It was so exciting. We get to review New Who again. I feel like we've been waiting forever.
It has been forever.
New.
I think there were a couple less gray hairs than before. Anything you want to promote? You want to talk about your artwork? Find
my art at maryogle.com or on Etsy at eVision Arts.
Excellent. And Mr. Mike, it's great to have you back. Hope you enjoyed your vacation.
Yeah, I hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. As always, it's my pleasure.
Okay, guys. Thank you guys, as always, for joining us. It's been awesome to talk to you about New Who. Check out our Facebook group, folks. We have an amazing Facebook group. It's growing. We're posting lots of Doctor Who news up there, talks, reviews, artwork that people have been submitting or I've been finding online. It's just some great, great stuff up there. And we want you involved with it. That's what's missing. So definitely check it out, the Earth Station Who Facebook group. All right. We will see you all next week. Please like and subscribe wherever you listen to this. And we'll see you here next time on Earth Station Who. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
See you soon. Now we got to tell the boss about the 2 hearts.
You have been listening to Earth Station Who, a pop culture podcast dedicated to all things Doctor Who, featuring talents from throughout space and time. All topics on the show are the sole opinions of the individuals and are to be used for entertainment value alone. You can subscribe to our show wherever fine podcasts are found, or check out our website, earthstationwho.com. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook or Instagram, and if you enjoyed the show, please write to us at feedback@earthstationwho.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next journey of Earth Station Who.
We are the Cigar Nerds, bringing nerdy sophistication and geeky indulgence on all topics, including movies, video games, science, and pop culture news, all from the Nerd Cave Cigar Lounge. Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and wherever fine podcasts are found, including ESOnetwork.com and CigarNerdPodcast.com. So fire up a cigar. It's time to get nerdy.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.